So we're going to do some speculation with this electric fairy. This is definitely going to do some cool looking stuff. It kind of brings on the whole form of Hawaii because it kind of looks like it's a dancer and it has some of those elaborate things you would use you'll see in dances that are more traditional to other cultures outside of English in America. We tend to jump up and down with our fists in the air. That's not something you see a whole lot often in other countries and other cultures. So this kind of reminds me of like a dancer of some sort. So I can see where it might get its fairy type because fairy is supposed to be graceful and dancing is graceful. And electric, they threw in electric because they thought it would be cool to throw that in. But a dancer can be electrified if you want to say it is. Now, as I mentioned before, this is a interesting bug type we have going on here. He kind of has what you would think would be a truck, as I mentioned earlier in the video. And I don't know, it's going to be interesting to see how he fares out in battle because, yet again, it's another electric type that they're introducing with a bug typing, so that'll help with some stuff, but I don't think we'll see this in competitive play. We might. We saw Beedrill, Mega Beedrill, sort of trying to get in on the scene, but it's still not that great because it's still very fragile, so we're going to have to see some stats before we see who this is. And with his evolutionized form, this is kind of what I was talking about when we're going to see it in battle. I doubt we'll see the other one. If you do Little Cup, you might see him in battle, just for people trying to do all the new stuff, especially with new Pokemon. They're always hype. As we're seeing right now, we're obviously super hyped. With this thing, though, I will want to see how he turns out. Now that I'm looking at him a little better, kind of like with his back wings, it makes him look a lot like a Firefly. So I wonder if he's going to possibly get Tail Glow. That would be pretty chill. That would make him very viable if they gave him Tail Glow, if they're indeed going off of a Firefly effect. But when you see him from the back end, he doesn't really have that different look. So if they make it glow, that'd be cool. If not, no big deal. We're just happy to see a bug electric type, I guess. Not the typing I would like to see. I would like to see, like, Grass Dragon, personally. That would be very chill. Or Grass Steel. Just grass anything. You know, grass is my favorite typing. Here, we're going back into our Steel Dragon type. Now, one would think he'd be water typing when looking at him. We can definitely see how he might be flying. It kind of has the Altaria Cloud look, but it definitely seems a lot more flowing in how his wings are, because it looks like it could be like the Flying Nimbus from Dragon Ball Z, but that's not quite what we're looking at. We can tell those are definitely wings, and his tail definitely looks very poofy, but he has this very old-timey look on how you would see Wishcash, because Wishcash is supposed to be this very old Pokemon, and he has that same exact look. So whether or not he's going to be powerful, we will in due time see. But it'll be interesting to see how this fares out against fairy types, because we have both the steel and the dragon. So we need to see what his speed is going to be on, and if he can outspeed the important fairy types we're trying to beat out, like Mega Gardevoir and a bunch of others. So we need to see what his speed is going to be. Maybe he'll be a great sweeper for teams if he's slower and you want to throw him into a Trick Room team. But again, we need stats to see how this Pokemon will be going. I do like his design overall, though, and I'm looking forward to playing with him when Sun and Moon comes out. Here we have next our Water Fairy type Pokemon. This is going to be interesting indeed, because this will be a very great counter to dragons because of just the fairy typing and the water typing in general. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. I see this being probably as prevalent as Basculin. Funny enough saying that after I'm saying it's going to be a great counter to dragons, but it just seems like it's not going to be that competitive. Not too many of the fish Pokemon we see are competitive. Maybe if we can see this have an evolution, we might see it doing stuff, but if it's on the same tier as Basculin, it's going to be kind of a gimmick, and I don't see much more past that. But as I mentioned earlier, I will like to see how this Pokemon plays out in the game and having it on my team just for a little bit and seeing what we can do with him. Next, we have our Pokemon, and I'm going to reiterate, I think it looks more like a moth with feet. A moth with feet, but with the bug fairy typing. We're going to see how this plays out. I doubt it's going to be very powerful, and if it does not have an evolution, I will be very surprised, because this is such a small Pokemon. It reminds me a little bit of Tynamo, so maybe it'll evolve into some like big boss type Pokemon, kind of how Electros is there. It's very cute, I guess, in a moth way if you like moths. I know it's not exactly a moth because of how the wings and everything goes, but it's not Venomoth, but it reminds me a lot like that, maybe like a dust mite, and it'll be interesting. Seems like it'll be very weak, and when it evolves, hopefully it'll be a lot better. But this one will be interesting in how it turns out in the future. Here we have our Dendene duplicate, but this one is electric steel instead. So it's going to play probably a lot closer. I would be surprised if it's not bulky. It does have that steel type, which typically means it's going to be more defensive of a Pokemon. And with the electric typing, it can do some interesting stuff. I want to see how this goes. They're adding a bunch of steel type Pokemon in this game. You see with Solgaleo, that dragon from earlier, and now this new mole, mouse, whatever we're going to be calling it. I have no idea what it's supposed to be based off of, but it's going to see maybe some play in stuff. It might be like a new Pachirisu, where if it has Follow Me, you'll be able to do some great stuff with doubles in itself in a single battle. Might be able to hold its ground depending on who your enemy's Pokemon are, but I'm seeing some great generalness to this in general, so we'll see how this one pans out in the future as well. And just another quick look at Zygarde in its forms. This is making me think that Zygarde will be obtainable in this game as well. Maybe we'll be able to get it shiny form, because it is shiny locked. So that is going to be some great news if we can get Zygarde in shiny form, because there aren't too many Pokemon that are shiny locked, but when we can have all the Pokemon we want that are shiny, that are legendaries, even if we're going to have to soft reset for it, it'll still make it legit, and it will be very cool to see is with a legit shiny form. But that's all the reaction and speculation we're going after today. Thank you so much for watching this June 30th update. And until next time, everyone, make sure you like, subscribe, and come back for some more. So let's high five out. Bam!